What's happening? You got the Retro Gaming Hippie, and today I'm coming at you with a pickup video. Not something I do very often, but in the last, about 6 months since I moved up to Washington State, I've been getting out to a few garage sales. I'll go on Facebook Marketplace and look for stuff or offer ups. Sometimes I'll go to eBay if it's something I really want. But just a few things that I found around here. The only thrift store we have here in town is a Goodwill, which is very hit and miss nowadays, but I'll still go through there, and I found a few things from time to time. We're going to start off with action figures, and then I'll move into some video game stuff, and then just some kind of mishmash of 80s memorabilia and 70s memorabilia stuff that I like, such as role-playing games or puzzles or game boards, games, stuff like that. If you want to fast forward to the last thing I'm going to show you is probably the sexiest thing I've ever found here at the local Goodwill here from the 70s, but that'll be at the very end of the video. So without further ado, we're going to start off with there was a garage sale that was just down the road here a few months back. They had a big old tub full of toys that I think were like a quarter that I picked through. They were McDonald's toys and loose action figures, but I found quite a few things that I enjoy. I love loose action figures, and we found a Bobby the Brain Heenan LJN hard rubber figure. These are loose and played with condition. You know, I usually get these either for trade shows or to add to my collection. A lot of this probably will be for trade shows or even reselling, which a lot of these items will either go to trade or resell. I prefer the trade shows. Now, Galoob also did a hard rubber line. This is what I call Surfer Sting, the Sting I remember from his UWF days and his early WCW days, because I really didn't watch wrestling after that, but Surfer Sting. GUTS from 1986. These were called Guts, little action figures there. They could hold little items in their hands, but all these things are, you know, just good loose played condition. There's no accessories really with any of these guys here. A turtle. I don't remember which turtle this is. I don't know my turtles very well, but he does have his shell. These, I didn't know what they were, but they were super cool, and I did a little research from the 90s. They're called Snailians. And they're a little rubber figure. I mean, I could see these guys fighting with the army ants, if you remember that. Really cool armor that I wish would come off of them so you could get to them. But Snailians, kind of a cool little piece. And, of course, you know, they have the Star Wars stuff. So we got a Imperial Officer, Lobot, however you say that. And a Tusken Raider with the cape. He's not bad position there. Little G.I. Joe action with Chuckles. I remember reading about him in the comic book quite a bit. Chuckles. Another in line from the late 80s. Visionaries. But his visionary little hologram thing is not really working. So, like I said, loose beat up figures. Little tin toy frog that does work really well. A little Elmer Fudd. I just thought he was kind of cute in the Bugs Bunny outfit. And last but not least, a friend of mine really likes E.T., so a few E.T. things. I'm pretty sure that was an E.T. McDonald's toy. A little bit more of an E.T. statue. And I thought this one was really cute. Little E.T. rubber figure there. And sticking with action figures, these are more modern. I usually don't go with modern figures at all. I certainly don't go to places like Walmart and Target where they sell these kinds of exclusive, but I saw them online. I love the 80s. I love Halloween. This is the Wave 2 of the Ben Cooper NECA line. So these were $20 a piece, so $80 for all four plus shipping, and I got them right from the NECA site. They articulate really well. They're really cool figures. And this is Stripe. And this is Gizmo. And Beetlejuice from the cartoon Beetlejuice. And you see he's got a little skull bucket. Everybody else came with these little paper type trick-or-treat bags that are really cool they hold on to. And last but not least, the Alien figure. These feel like the same material that the Ben Cooper costumes were made out of back then. The masks do not come off the heads. You notice the elongated mask. This is how the Alien costume was back then if you were lucky enough to get one. I never got Ben Cooper costumes. I just got to look at them. They articulate really well, but the feet on the very bottom are kind of, all of them have a little cockeye out to the left there, but they will stand. So not a bad figure. Usually don't go with modern, but they just spoke to me with a lot of nostalgia and stuff. And they came in these cool little cellophane boxes. I would have never seen them at a Target or wherever. I certainly would have got all four, so I was lucky enough to get them directly from their site. So those were $80 plus shipping for all four of them, $20 a piece. We're going to move on to video games next, and this is a Nintendo lot that I paid $140 for. Some of them are duplicates that you'll see, but we start off with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Knight Rider, Championship Bowling, Skate or Die, Gauntlet. I just did a review of this, Dragon Warrior. It's a fun little game. 3-pack of Super Mario Duck Hunt and World Class Track Meet. Little Kings of the Beach, so you can do a little Top Gun volleyball action in the sand, if you remember that. Play action football. Legend of Zelda. Really fun game. If you've never played it, Bubble Bobble. Another really fun game, Super Mario 3. Another really fun game, Bionic Commando. Another game, Guardian Legend. I've never played that one. Of course, you get a Super Mario and Duck Hunt, right? Every collection has that. Along with it, every collection always finds a silent service. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 1. Probably a really fun game, I'm sure. Capcom always does pretty solid games. Star Voyager. Solomon's Key. 720. I used to love playing this in the arcade. Dungeons & Dragons Heroes of the Lance. One of 4 games done on Nintendo that were D&D related. I haven't played it. I believe it plays different than most D&D games, but I'm looking forward to adding that to my collection. I love D&D. Another Zelda. And another triple cartridge with Mario Duck Hunt and World Class Track Meet. Again, that was $140 for those games. Then my local Goodwill did have some video game stuff the other day that I picked up. I paid $20 for this lot, and they're all complete. Thunder Tanks World Destruction League PS2, Midnight Club 2 on the Xbox, Dynasty Warriors 4 on the Xbox, Dynasty Warriors 5 on the Xbox, and True Crime New York City Collector's Edition on the Xbox. So it's always nice to find video games at Goodwill, which usually don't. They also had this, which is totally for resale or trade, because it's way too new for me. I've never played, I guess, for the Xbox One controller, still in the box here. $12.80 for that particular item. Now we're going to move on to some Sega. A local guy here I know had a Sega Game Gear lot that he wanted me to test out in some games, see if they worked. And it included a Sega Game Gear bag, an official one. I really like the bag stuff for carrying things around. Of course, you got to have an enhancer to see that stuff. I played Sega Game Gear before. It's definitely, I don't know, I'm not a fan of handhelds, and this one's no better. It came with 2 Sega Game Gears. The battery compartments, everything is pretty clean and well together. They do power on, but I'm not really getting much of a video signal or screen from them. I do have a friend that I talked to down south that does repair work on this, and so I'm going to send them down there to have them repaired because they're not functioning. A plug-in lighter for driving on the go and playing. Of course, these are all Sega licensed stuff. I really like the idea of having everything original for the most part if I can. The power supply so you could plug it into the wall and play it. Rechargeable battery pack, so you could charge this up and then play this on the go, the Game Gear. I also have one of those for the Game Boy, original Game Boy. It's a rechargeable pack. The coolest thing, and I love learning about stuff, not that I know everything, but the fact that Sega came out with, this is called a Newbie, if I said that right, Newbie converter. So this isn't a Sega licensed product, but you plug this into the Game Gear and then you can put in Sega Master System games and maybe even Genesis games. But I believe this is for Sega Master System games only, and play them on your Game Gear. And so along with this lot came some Master System games such as Double Dragon, Choplifter, Raztan. I love this game in the arcade, and this is a really good version of it. I played this for a bit when I was testing this stuff out. Raztan, fantastic. I love that. Shinobi's another really good game, too. I mean, if you like Ninja Gaiden on the Nintendo, I really think Shinobi is a much better game. I remember playing this a bit on the Genesis and in the arcade, along with its sequels. Alex Kidd and the Lost Star. Outrun, classic racing game, not really my thing. And Great Basketball. So that Sega Game Gear lot with the Master System games, I paid $150 for that. Of course, the 2 Game Gear consoles don't work, but I know somebody that can take care of them and fix them, and I'm going to ship them down to them. And I will now have a Game Gear in my collection and some great Master System games. Next, we're going to move on to kind of the miscellaneous stuff. This next lot I got on Facebook Marketplace from somebody here locally. It's D&D stuff. I absolutely love D&D, and I paid $200 for this complete lot, and it's a lot of stuff. Starting off with a couple of game books for Indiana Jones from back in the 80s when that came out. role-playing games. Indiana Jones. You got some, I think this is second edition character sheets, a whole booklet of it. These things are all in good, played with condition, you know, once again, which is what I really like to have because I plan on using this stuff for the most part. It's a whole bunch of modules. Whole stack of modules. I believe these were also used in some like tournament gameplay for serious D&D folks could play these setup modules in a tournament setting, and then they released them for home settings or something like that. World of Grayskull. My D&D knowledge is not the largest, but it's getting bigger every day as I find lots of D&D stuff, it seems like. More modules, dungeon modules. And even more modules. This might look familiar to some folks, that's for sure. Almost done with this big old set of modules and whatnot, including things like Spelljammer, which was second edition stuff. It's a big box full of manuals and maps to play that. Some modules for Gamma World, which was kind of a, or basic rules booklet for it. Kind of a sci-fi, I think, shoot off of the D&D stuff. More Gamma World. This was a new addition to my collection, the first book of monster manuals from back then, although I believe these are considered, or we'll say 4th edition, if I remember right, whatever all that means. Yeah, 4th edition, August of 79. I don't have this one, so that's a nice add-on. I do have this one, the Player's Handbook, and I also have this one in my collection already, which is the Dungeon Master Guide. Another Spelljammer module, a different one, but Spelljammer. I really like this animation on this very last one I'm going to show you. Ravenloft. Check out that vampire. I mean, I think he looks really cool. But it's another second edition box set, like module you could add on. So that was a whole lot of stuff for D&D, and I paid $200 for that lot there. One more role-playing thing. I paid $50 for this shipped. This came off of a wrestling group site that I really like it. It's a WWF role-playing game that came out in the 90s. $50 I think is definitely top dollar. I mean, honestly, it's just a book of rules and basic set, but it's WWF and it is role-playing, so I definitely wanted to add that to my collection. Something I didn't even know existed, so it's always nice to see that. Now we go back to Goodwill, and I mean, I really don't like to be a board game guy, but I like the graphics on this Star Trek based on the 1979 motion picture board game. That is complete. It's a big, fun board game. I have played it just to make sure everything was there. That cost $6. It takes a lot of space to store board games, so that's a tricky one. So last but not least, here's the sexiest thing I think I've ever found from the 1970s. It was also at the Goodwill, and it is a puzzle of Sly Stallone. Just look at that guy and his tank top and his muscles. It's all there, 500 pieces. I put it together. This ran me $4, and this was released in 1977, it says. So this would have been right after Rocky, but Sly Stallone puzzle box. Whew, that's a lot of stuff, and you made it to the end. You heard my prices there, things I bought and paid for. Leave me a comment about some of that stuff and tell me, do you think I paid too little, too much? Of course, did I get a great deal? I think most of the time I get great deals because if it's something I really want, I don't mind paying what I think is a high collector price, such as that WF role-playing game for $50. But the other things are generally things like, I make a good offer, but it may not be something I want, and you might be better off going somewhere else. So there you have it. Remember, I'm the Retro Gaming Hippie. You all take care.